We are live.
Hi guys.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is the Speed Mooting Partners in Crime podcast.
Episode
67.
67.
So for those who are new, we like to name our episodes. So we normally name our episodes after Formula One drivers with the corresponding number. Unfortunately, there's no driver with 67. There hasn't even been a driver with a temporary number of 67, so that's off the table. But we saw the terribly sad news that Christian Horner was sacked yesterday.
It might be justified.
Yeah.
But apparently it's been done immediately without notice, so...
Yeah, so...
Big moves.
Yeah, and to be honest, I quite like Christian Horner. Yeah, so...
Unless something comes out that,
there might be something that changes my opinion. Who knows? We don't know what's gone on.
Innocent until proven guilty, John.
That's it. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Innocent until proven guilty. I think it's the... Because I went to a talk with Gunther Steiner and, all the crowd are there, bashing him. But yeah, I think comes across as a nice enough guy on TV. He's done a good job. 8 world titles at Red Bull, so...
Married to Jerry Halliwell.
Exactly. Nice guy, respectable guy, but yeah, it's the I think it's the Drive to Survive crew that don't like him. All these, the newfangled F1 fans. We were chatting about this the other day, weren't we? Mm-hmm. I remember the good old days when you'd go out and say you like F1 and everyone thought you were a weirdo. But anyway, so Christian Horner getting an honourable mention today. And we looked at wrestlers born 1967, and there's a good range. There's so many there.
People that even I've heard, so that means they're good.
That means they're good. Yeah, 67 was a good year for wrestlers being born. But we're gonna limit it to just 2. So we've got Kane.
It's Kane.
It's Kane. I was telling Hayley before that. So Glenn Jacobs is his real name. He's actually a politician in the States. He's like the mayor or the governor of some town. That
is crazy.
I know, that's just madness. If that was me, I would definitely be turning up to political meetings in the Kane mask and everything.
I wonder if there's specific rules that he's not allowed to.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. And,
anyway.
And so that's Kane. And Eddie Guerrero sadly passed away, I think 20 years ago this year, actually. He was a big talent. Famously his finish as the frog splash. But yeah, no, Eddie Guerrero, great talent, great wrestler. And he passed away in his 30s, unfortunately. But brilliant wrestler. So welcome to episode 67, the Christian Horner, Kane and Eddie Guerrero special.
Welcome. So, we've had a good day, haven't we?
We've had a decent day. It's been a really good day. So, started off with a bit of work, didn't it? Mm-hmm. So I had a conference, a few other bits and bobs this morning. You've done some general work as well, haven't you?
I have done some general work. And most importantly, it is, well, we won't say what date we're recording this because I don't know if we've actually said our wedding date. I know that makes me seem like I think we're celebrities, don't tell the date.
Oh, but you know that people will be wanting to come, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So we got to keep it out of the press,
But yeah, today's date, which is the day we're recording the podcast, is exactly 3 months until the wedding days.
It certainly is.
So I went today and got my bridal hair trial. This is not it. This is the aftermath of me removing it. Is all that I will say. But yeah, that was really fun. And then we went to our wedding venue and had our breakfast tasting.
That we did.
Which, if you don't know what that means, you didn't know what it meant.
No.
Your wedding breakfast. I think it's called a breakfast because it's the first meal you have as man and wife. Mm. That's so weird, isn't it?
I know, crazy.
But yeah, so it's a 3-course meal. It's not breakfast. But yeah, we went and we tried 6 different things, didn't we?
Yeah.
We are stuffed
right now, aren't we?
So full. But it was a lovely day. The venue, Outland Golf Club, couldn't recommend them any more. If anyone out there is from Liverpool, listen to this. It's a stunning venue, and the staff are unbelievable.
Oh, they really are, actually. Yeah, they're really good.
Yes.
Yeah, great staff, great food. It's you know what, we've eaten in there, might only be 2 times now, actually, but it's been good quality stuff both times.
I think the chef is an award-winning chef.
He is.
And also the person that looks after you on the day of your wedding, he's award-winning as well.
Yeah. So yeah, great venue, highly recommend it. We're not on commission for recommending the venue, but
you know, Alton Golf Club, if you're listening and want to give us like free food or drinks for life, we'll mention you again.
Yeah, we'll happily do a partnership. Episode. Yeah. Imagine that, Alton Golf Course sponsoring the podcast.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, so it was good. So we got to try two starters, 2 mains, 2 desserts.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, what was interesting was we threw a bit of a curveball out there. We tried, because you know we're pretty simple people, so we thought, well, let's go a couple of soups, you know, for what we'll try today. But I had a look at the menu. I said, Hayley, there's something else on there. Let's give it a go. So we thought, yeah, we'll give it a go. And we weren't massively keen on the alternative option. So tomato soup, as we thought.
Don't spoil the menu.
Oh, well, cut that bit then.
It's okay. You can know there's a tomato soup, but you can't know anything else.
Yeah, won't spoil anything else. But yeah, tomato soup. It's not much of a surprise.
No, I think, to be fair, and also the main probably won't be that much of a surprise for people that know us, which I won't say what it is, but I think when together we're like, okay, this is John and Hayley.
Yeah.
The pudding is going to be a bit of a curveball,
That is a curveball, because so once again, we did the obvious choice plus an alternative. It was just like, well, you've got to pick 2 things. Let's just pick something else. And we said, you know what? Mm-hmm. Let's go with the alternative. So people are going to be shocked by that one, I think. Ooh. So yeah, watch the space. I was about to say watch the space. Yeah, no doubt we'll talk about it at some point.
We'll probably have an episode dedicated to our wedding.
I mean, we've got a content creator there anyway, haven't we? So there might be a speed meeting blog about it anyway.
You never know. You never know. John,
but anyway,
these glasses are really upsetting.
Yeah, we've got these.
If anyone out there knows,
that we drink Coke Zero out of.
No, I don't drink out of them because they're just ugly. The aesthetic of a glass is really important. It's like, you know, when you go to a bar, girls you'll know, and they bring you like a really ugly wine glass, like no stem, this big, thick is okay as long as it's on a thin stem. Mm. And John bought these ugly plastic Stein things. And every time he says, do you want a Coke Zero? Do you want a water? I go, yeah. And if he brings them in these cups, I'm so upset. Let me show you them. You ready for this, guys? Like,
what's wrong?
What's wrong with it? Look at it.
I feel like something off Game of Thrones, you know?
Yeah, that's what I feel like. A big, like, giant man. Rah! Where's my mead? Anyway,
anyhow,
let's get on to law because it's a very, very, very busy week for us.
Yeah.
So we've decided to do an Ask Speed Squad special.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we had a couple related to your previous role as a senior Crown Prosecutor.
Okay, I remember those days.
You remember those days? So if anyone's tuning in for the first time tonight, apologies for the waffle you've just listened to, but you know, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
John...
We're how far in we are? Only 10 minutes, so hopefully we've not offended anyone by talking non-law for 10 minutes.
Yeah. So John is a current practicing criminal barrister.
Yeah.
And he was once a senior Crown Prosecutor at the Crown Prosecution Service. Mm-hmm. And we actually did a video on our YouTube channel. I think it was a day in the life of a senior Crown Prosecutor.
Yeah.
I'll link the video at the end in case people listen to this going, oh, I want to check out that video. Do check it out. You'll see it at the end screen at the end of this video. And we've had a few comments relating to that.
Yeah.
First one. I noticed you worked with the Crown Prosecution... Oh, this actually came on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I noticed that you worked with the Crown Prosecution Service. I'd really appreciate hearing more about your experience there. Does the role offer valuable exposure for someone hoping to build a career as a barrister?
100%. So I suppose if you were going in a sort of, unqualified role, so let's say you go in as a paralegal or something of that nature, well, you get an exposure to criminal law generally So, hopefully as a paralegal, you work on the cases. So you'll get to see, your evidence, you'll get to see the trial process, as in the entire litigation process. So on a Crown Court case, for example, seeing what happens from the PCPH onwards, looking at the stage dates, and I'm not going to go through stage dates today, we've talked about them before, but generally what happens there, seeing how evidence is exchanged, what goes into a defence statement, how you deal with disclosure. So you'll understand all of that. As a paralegal, you'll probably be working alongside a senior Crown prosecutor that runs a caseload, so hopefully you'll learn from them, assist them on their caseload. I mean, I never worked in an unqualified role at the CPS, so it's difficult for me to say exactly what you'll be doing, but the nice thing is you get exposure to these cases and exposure to those files. Certain paralegal officers go to court as well, so they're there to assist, so to ensure that documents are printed for counsel, to ensure that the counsel has everything that they need effectively. So you're in court, you're sat there behind counsel, you get to watch trials, so you're getting great exposure to the criminal justice system and the criminal litigation process. So you're going to learn so much there. So I would say it's a really good job to do. The other thing you can do as well whilst unqualified is become an associate prosecutor, which means that you get to prosecute, do advocacy basically in the magistrates court. There's a limit to what you can do, but you're still there in the magistrates court prosecuting cases. So you'll get to do guilty plea cases, for example, think possibly remand hearings. So you're getting that exposure to advocacy as well. So it's very varied, and you'll learn a lot in the role.
How long does it take to reach the role of senior Crown prosecutor, and are you expected to speak in court?
Okay, so let's assume you do either a training contract or a pupillage with the CPS, and then you qualify. So what happens is, once you qualify, and it doesn't matter whether you're a barrister or a solicitor at the CPS, they don't really distinguish between the two. You just have general titles. So as soon as you qualify, you become a Crown prosecutor, and what that means is that you will prosecute in court. So you'll be in the magistrates court as a Crown prosecutor, and obviously you'll be trained up, and as you go on, you start getting exposure to bigger cases, different types of hearings, etc. So you might start in the guilty plea court, basically prosecuting guilty pleas. You then might move into the not guilty court, where you're dealing with case management, things of that nature, and then eventually within a couple of months you'll probably be onto trials. It depends which area you are in. But I was speaking to somebody the other day in court. She was saying that she came to the CPS from a civil background, so she was a solicitor doing civil law, and within about 12 months she was promoted to senior Crown prosecutor. And certainly from what I saw during my time at CPS in Mersey, Cheshire, that seemed to be about the average, about 12 months, give or take. Some people do it quicker, some people take longer. But yeah, from the point that you qualify, you can be talking there or thereabouts 12 months. And to put it in context, the difference in a Crown prosecutor and a senior Crown prosecutor is the responsibility that comes with the role. So a senior Crown prosecutor has the authority to make charging decisions. So what that means is that they get to review files before they've been charged. So when the police arrest somebody for a relatively serious offence, they will send the file to the CPS. The CPS lawyer reviews it, and the CPS lawyer will say yay or nay. They will authorise the charges and say which charges are appropriate. So the senior Crown prosecutor has the authority to do that. The general Crown prosecutor doesn't. And likewise, when you run the file, a senior Crown prosecutor can make decisions to withdraw charges, change charges, amend charges, etc., whereas a Crown prosecutor doesn't have that authority. In terms of advocacy, Crown prosecutors, that's all they do. They just do advocacy in the magistrates court. Depending on which area you belong to will dictate whether you do any advocacy as a senior Crown prosecutor. So some areas of the country, they're very keen to make sure that SCP, Senior Crown Prosecutor, very keen to make sure they do advocacy. So they might spend 3 days a week in court. Some might even spend 5 days a week. Other areas, SCPs, their value is, the charging advice and their decision making. So they will spend the bulk of their time in the office or at home, depending on your working arrangements, doing file work. So some senior Crown prosecutors will do exclusively file work and don't see the inside of a courtroom. So it really just depends which part of the country you're in.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the big reasons why you moved on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at the CPS. Couldn't recommend it enough to anyone. So, I was talking there about working in the unqualified roles. I obviously came across as a qualified solicitor. I went in straight as a senior Crown prosecutor because of my previous experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really loved working for the CPS. But as I say, unfortunately, the opportunities for advocacy just weren't there. So my role was mainly a file review based role. So I was doing charges, file reviews, running cases, etc. Because I was interested in advocacy, they did allow me to go to court, but
it wasn't the norm.
It was few and far between. So unfortunately, I had to move on and go into chambers.
Unfortunately.
Well, I say unfortunately, best decision I've ever made. Nothing to do with the CPS. It's just it was the best decision for me. But yeah. So I'm perfectly happy where I am, and I'm glad I've made this decision. But what I mean is, unfortunately, I couldn't continue with the CPS anymore.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So in the area where I worked, opportunities for advocacy once you get past that Crown prosecutor level are just few and far between, basically. They are starting to offer Crown advocate roles now, where you conduct advocacy in the Crown Court. But once again, certainly when I was at the CPS, those roles were few and far between and very, very rarely came up. I don't come across Crown advocates very often. So, yeah, I think, the opportunities for advocacy are quite limited.
Okay. Another one for you, John.
Oh, go on.
This is the John Dove special this week.
Okay.
I'm particularly interested in learning more about Charterhouse Chambers, where you're based. I was wondering if you might be able to share any guidance or insight.
Okay. So Charterhouse Chambers, so we are based in Liverpool. So we've got premises on Chapel Street, and we're in a lovely office there, 20 Chapel Street. So we are, I suppose, what you call a multidisciplinary chamber. So we cover most areas you can imagine. So crime, civil, family, chancery, many other areas, in fact. So we pretty much cover most areas of law that you can imagine. Probably got around 25 members, I think. So probably a mid-sized set. We're not tiny, we're not massive. But it's a very friendly set, I find. So we have, for example, I do exclusively criminal law, so I deal mostly with the criminal practitioners there. But we're very sort of collaborative in the way that we work. So we're always on the phone, chatting about, sharing advice when we need it. Got this point, what do you think about that? Quite a social set as well. So we go out, relatively often.
I think a bunch of members are coming to our wedding, aren't they?
They certainly are, yes. There's going to be members of Chambers at our wedding as well. So I really think I've landed on my feet by coming to Charterhouse Chambers. We always seem to have a pupil barrister. So I think, I don't know the process of pupillage at our chambers, but it seems that, we've always, there's always someone in pupillage there, for example. And, it's quite a structured pupillage. Pupils have exposure to all the different areas. So our pupil supervisor specialises in civil law, but the pupils get to shadow other members of chambers. So because they will be conducting criminal cases upon qualification, I have the pupils come to court with me occasionally. I try and make sure that I, discuss what's going on, discuss the hearing, explain the law involved, explain any procedure, so hopefully it's as valuable as it possibly can be. So in short, very friendly chambers, and we cover most areas of law, and we are very, very busy.
Very busy.
Very busy.
On that note, I'll say we get an awful lot of emails and private messages asking to shout out John in Chambers, and it's definitely something that John is open to do. But I think I've answered about 10 plus messages on this week alone.
Wow.
So we'll say it on the podcast. At this current moment in time, John can't offer any shadowing experiences. A, because he's involved in a number of cases that are taking him up and down the country, so it just wouldn't be practical to have someone shadowing him. One day he's in Carlisle, the next day he's in Manchester, the next day he's in Birmingham, for example, and his schedule's changing at the drop of a hat because just the type of cases he's involved in.
Yeah.
2, we've got a lot going on with speed mooting right now, so John could be waiting to go into court and in the middle of a speed mooting job that's top secret, so he can't have anyone with him. So it'd be really awkward to have someone with you and go, I need to go in this room for 2 hours and you can't come with me, for example.
Yeah.
And 3, we might have mentioned we're getting married in 3 months, so he's very, very, very busy. And yeah, I think it's definitely something that you'd like to do more of. And
100%.
I think when there are opportunities that come up, so when John knows he's got a good case and he's got time to dedicate to someone that's shadowing him, you will probably advertise or let people know there's an opportunity in the community hub.
Yeah.
So once again, community hub is where you need to be if you want the chance to take advantage of these opportunities when they do come up.
Indeed. So if you're not a member, make sure you join the Speed Mooting Community Hub.
hub.speedmooting.com.
Yeah.
And another big thing we need to mention, which everyone is talking about, the Leveson Report.
Yeah.
So, as we mentioned, this is going to be a shorter episode this week just because of how much we've gone on for the rest of this day and the rest of this week. But we will sit down, John and I, and we'll spend a good 10, 15, 20, however long it takes to break down that Leveson Report for you all and tell you what it means for criminal law, the criminal bar, and for all of you aspiring criminal barristers.
Absolutely.
So keep an eye out for that next week.
Yeah.
Right, John, you've got 2 cases to prep for.
I certainly have.
I've got a million different things to prep for. We've got speed meeting coming out of our eyeballs this week, so I think we will have to leave this one here. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope you're happy with the shorter content, but hopefully still valuable content.
Oh, yeah. Try and make it as valuable as we can. And normal service will be resumed next week.
Indeed.
We'll see you then. If you're still listening at this point, drop us a comment. Wedding breakfast. Did we have that this week?
No, it was jury service.
Was it? Right, yeah. Wedding breakfast.
How interesting, by the way, that last week we were explaining what jury service was, and I've just said this is going to come next week and we talk about the Leveson Report, but trial by juries is one of the hot topics of the Leveson Report.
I think it's probably not coincidental. I think Leveson listened to our podcast and thought, now's the time to release the report.
Yeah, we're on to you, Mr. Leveson.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. This video is brought to you by Speed Mooting. We are an organisation that help aspiring and junior lawyers. We run online and in-person advocacy and mooting competitions. We do online advocacy and public speaking training, and we run lots of other events to assist people on their legal journey. To learn more, visit our website, speedmooting.com.